to why Catholics are all about the Sacred Heart. As Pius explained, the Feast of the Sacred Heart of Jesus was instituted at a time when men were oppressed by the sad and gloomy severity of Jansenism, which had made their hearts grow cold and shut them out from the love of God and the hope of salvation. Now, on the surface, that sounds nothing like today. People today tend to minimize the severity of sin.
Do you ever feel like you need to talk about sin more?
You know what, I just feel like I do it in a different way. I get that, that criticism sometimes, but, when I talk about it, I talk about, how we can become better, how we can overcome. I probably categorize it bigger, but I don't feel like I'm supposed to go and beat people down. Most people know what they're doing wrong.
Well, the Jansenists focused on sin so extensively that in Pius's words, they treated God as an implacable judge rather than a loving father. But the reason that people's hearts grew cold in response to Jansenism is that they were giving up. Living a Christian life seemed impossible. They couldn't be perfect enough to satisfy the strict judge that the Jansenists were preaching, and so they just got discouraged. They lost sight of both the love of God and the hope of salvation. And I would suggest that many people today turn to sin for precisely the same reason. Christianity comes to feel like a burden, this moral standard that is impossible to live up to.
There were a lot of things that were healthy for me to shed in terms of judgment and shame and how I processed that.
And frankly, there's even a certain logic in that attitude. If heaven seems unattainable, why bother trying? Just enjoy yourself here on earth while you still can. I'm reminded of St. Paul's words in 1 Corinthians. If the dead are not raised, let us eat and drink, for tomorrow we die. If you become convinced that God's promises either aren't real or that they're for somebody else and not for you, why not spend your life gratifying the flesh to at least get what comfort you can before you die? Well, it's precisely here that we find the Sacred Heart. It's a visible reminder of the infinite love of Jesus Christ, which moves us to love one another. This way, we don't lose sight of the love of God or treat God's love as a kind of disembodied spiritual truth. Because the danger is that even while we say things like God loves us or God is love, the fact that God is infinitely beyond us and our comprehension can make those words ring hollow. But Jesus, the eternal Son of God, chose to love each of us with a human heart, with feelings and emotions. A human love that points towards the reality of divine love. We're invited into the reality of this divine love, but without missing the fact that Jesus' love for us is both fully and truly human as well.